Rwandan opposition leader Victoire Ingabire has questioned her country's suitability to host the Commonwealth heads of government meeting, citing human rights abuses.
Rwandan opposition figure Ingabire says the United Kingdom should help Rwanda live by the Commonwealth's values such as democracy, human rights and gender equality. She says nothing has changed in the East African nation after she returned from exile in the Netherlands to contest the presidential election in 2010. Ingabire has called on Commonwealth leaders to visit the country's prisons to see what she claims are human rights violations. Ingabire was among thousands freed in a presidential pardon in 2018. She was serving a 15-year sentence after she was accused of conspiring to form an armed group during the country's genocide.
Rwandan President Paul Kagame says that there is always an attempt to paint Rwanda as a country that has no respect for human rights. Kagame was addressing the media at the end of the Commonwealth meeting in Kigali, Rwanda.
I think checking of facts is a serious problem with the very institutions we should have relied on to inform the public, the general public, the world, about some of these facts. Or whether the facts themselves or the interpretation of some of the things that actually happen. Now, let me start with the issue of values. Who defines the values? Or who doesn't actually have values? When people talk about values sometimes, there's one part of the world that has assumed the sole responsibility and the monopoly of defining values. So the rest of us have no values. We've just to keep learning from these ones who define the values. And by the way, the danger also is, it doesn't matter how long you take learning, you will never qualify. You will just always be branded somebody who has no values or who comes from a place where there are no values. So I want to put this case clear. Those from the north who always assume where BBC comes from, who always think they are the face of values, the rest have to follow. It's a big mistake. It's not true. We have values too. We here in Rwanda, in Africa, we do. No question about it. Second, there are some of these problems we have had in our continent, in Rwanda. Those from the north who define or want to define values have been part and parcel of these problems we have been facing. Some of them have actually been the cause of the problems we face. But at the same time, like the genocide here that took place here in Rwanda, where 1 million people over were killed. Well, I remember, if your memory serves you well too, I'm not inventing anything. The debate that went on at the UN, it was like, these developed rich countries, those who define values, simply took it like, these are just Africans killing each other. These debates were in the open. But you think that is true? You think the divide that actually led to this genocide was just a creation of Rwandans, not the people from the north who actually divided this country, told people to think of themselves as belonging to one ethnic group and the other to think as belonging to another ethnic group, and therefore they should kill each other. Not only are they different, but they should kill each other. Would you believe that? Would you tell me that the 20 million people, this is documented by other people, not by me, who were killed in the Congo, were killed by other Congolese in the old days of King Leopold? And you think all that just disappeared in a moment? Then you had the savages coming over and taking over their own countries and killing each other. And then the others assume the higher ground. They are up there in the north and keep pointing fingers at those of us and think we have no values and we just are there to, we don't respect freedoms, we don't respect human rights. Sure, you think so? BBC, you think so? You take time, you broadcast, and from morning to evening, this is literally just abusing people. You're abusing Rwandans, you're abusing Africans, values. What values do you know, my dear sister?